Ooh, what a day. Hi, and welcome to Thriving Tuesday Moments of Encouragement, better known as TTMOE, hashtag veeencouraged. I'm glad to be here. Glad those of you who are coming in are here. Please say hello. I would like you to do that. Hi, Miss Lucy. I know. Listen, when you change locations, sometimes the computer says, mm-mm. And so that's what happened today. And prayerfully, we'll stay up and running for this few minutes that we are going to share on this evening. I hope as others of you come in that you will continue to speak and say hello. Today, we're going to talk about something that is, I guess, kind of touchy for me as I think about my family and those who are getting older and things that we hold on to and things that we don't let go of. And I just came to understand that we've got to make peace with this life. All of us have made mistakes. All of us have things that we wish we had done differently, all of that. But we got to make peace with it. We got to make peace with it and us. You know, last week I talked about being, the you that you can live with. But not only do you have to live with the you right now, you got to live with your past. You got to make peace with that past. You got to make peace with choices. You got to make peace with mistakes. Because mistakes come with life and living. And so in order to do that, we've got to know that peace in the mirror is better than any amount of money that we can have. I know that sounds crazy because we live in a crazy world where material goods are more important than life. But I'm telling you, when you get to the end of this journey, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. If you do not have peace in your soul, you have nothing. You have nothing. So today we just want to talk about the scripture text tonight. This afternoon, for those of us who are still in afternoon, simply says from Romans 12:18, it says, in as much as possible, and it's possible so far as it depends on you, live at peace with all. Live at peace with all. And guess what? Far too often we think about that being other people, don't we? We say we got to live in peace with all people. But guess what? We're people. So it is possible, so far as it depends on you, live at peace with you. Again, I know we've all done some things, made some mistakes, made some bad moves, made some wrong turns, had to amend, had to atone for some things, had to make amends with someone about something that we may not have done yet. And we want to take a look at that. You want to look at your life and make some amends with some people whom you've hurt. A lot of times we are sitting in victimization and we keep looking at what's happened to us and what's happened to us and what's happened to us. But we don't take into consideration in our victim times, in our being so concerned about ourselves that we've ended up injuring others. And we got to make amends with that. That doesn't mean that you have to go back and try to make up for all of it. Life may not allow that. But you do have to make amends with it. You have to be able to say, I was honest with you. I was truthful with you. I did the things I did for you or the things that I didn't do for you because I knew exactly what I was doing. Or if I didn't know what I was doing, that I apologize earnestly for not handling things as well as I could. But in all you're doing, in all you're getting, get an understanding and understand that if we don't make peace with our lives, that we are destined to have turmoil in our souls as we reach our last days. In Oedipus the King, and I've brought this up before, in Oedipus the King, the play, at the end, the chorus simply says it, and I paraphrase, that you can't look back at your life and see it as a success unless you can look at it without pain, without regret, without remorse, without wondering how you could have treated someone better, without wondering if you handled this the best way. And that it doesn't mean that we're not going to have those questions, because we should. But we got to make peace with that thing. We got to make peace with the fact that you couldn't be all things to all people. And we got to be okay with that. We got to make peace with the fact that there comes a time when you got to deal with what you need to deal with for you, and make peace with that. You got to know that there are going to be some people who are going to care immensely for you that you don't feel the same connect that they do. And it's okay as long as you're honest with them about where you are. If we're going to be prepared we don't know what the day or the hour that our lives are going to end. So we got to be in that place where if tragedy strikes, if we find ourselves laying on a bed of affliction, if we find ourselves, at an age where our memory starts to slide and all those things that come along sometimes with aging, we got to be in a place where we can say, I have no regrets. One of the greatest things, my mom's been gone almost 24 years now, but one of the greatest things that I do when I look back at our relationship, I realize that I have no regrets. There's nothing we didn't talk about, the good, the bad, the ugly, in both our lives. And because we were able to do that, I can look back at her life as it relates to my life and have no regrets. Because regrets are only a place where we stir in the pain of life because we feel like we can't fix it. So the best thing for us to do is that which we can amend, amend. That which we can forgive, forgive. Because we don't ever want to be in a place where we're unable to complete that process, and we got to live with ourselves and it not be peace. I know this is heavy today, but sometimes we got to be a little heavy about this thing. We have to live it out the best we can, and that means trying to live it all the way through with no regrets. Meaning that I've owned up to my wrong. I've owned up to who I am. I can look at that person in the mirror and say, I clearly know who you are, even though I am not perfect, even though we still make mistakes, even though we don't always live like we should. But if we can live looking at ourselves, if we can be if the you that we are seeing is the one we can live with, then we got to be at peace with who that is. And not get caught up in what other people need for their peace. Sometimes, especially when you start getting to a certain point in life, you've got to be at peace with what you decide to do for your life. And you can't get stuck on what other people need. Because if you get stuck on what other people need, you will be in that maze of trying to please others while stressing yourself out and still not being at peace with you. Does that mean that we don't care for the household of faith? Does that mean that we don't care for others? No, it doesn't mean that at all. But I can't love you as I love myself if I'm slacking on myself. So I got to love me enough to be at peace with who I am, so that I can love you in the place where you are and be at peace with you. Because who you are may not always line up with who I am. But it's already all right. Because I have no regrets. And if I have no regrets, then I present myself to you as a person who doesn't need you to make me. Because God's already done that work. And when we connect. We connect as two people who understand who God has made us to be. So be at peace with who you are. Be at peace with all that you've done. Ask for your forgiveness. Make your amends. Do all the things that you need to do. So that if life takes a twist and a turn you cannot anticipate, you will not have to lay there, sit there with regret. It is a horrible place to find yourself, but as long as there's breath in your body, peace can come. Trust the one who brings us peace in every situation. And yes, Aunt Obie, there will be peace in the valley. And don't let the song get you there. It's not someday. Let peace be in your valley today. Go through. Do the hard work. Think about it all. Put it in perspective. And find a place where you can make peace with your life. And be encouraged. Look, I'll see you soon. Think on those things. Think on those things. Hang out in them. It's not always an easy space, but do the work, because there's nothing like living without regret. I'll see you soon. Be encouraged.